Okay, so we're here once again in Pet Simulator 99, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys the best methods of getting the brand new hacker keys in the newer hacker update. Now these are very important for a few things. One, the new global event, and also on top of that the clan battle as well, and also for the new hacker chest where you can get the brand new huge hacker axolotl, the new hoverboard, a lot of other different things as well, along with the new very expensive enchant as well, which currently I don't have and will not appear in this video. However, of course, if you can get that, it's basically always going to be a massive plus. However, in today's video, instead of showing you guys that, I'm going to show you guys how you can actually get these to drop a lot more. So right now, I'm actually going to take my pets off the area so we can start completely from scratch as if we've just spawned in. And what we basically need to prioritize isn't actually the amount of drops that we get, but instead the amount of breakables that we break. So as you can see, this is basically now a fresh new area, and what you're going to really want to do is basically, of course, have as many pets as possible. The more pets you have, the more breakables that you can break, which is always going to be a massive plus. So I'm just going to put these on here right now and let them do the thing. As you can see, we are breaking quite a lot of breakables. However, one thing that is going to help this out a massive amount is going to be the hasty flag. This right here is the flag for this update. Similar to the treasure key, we're basically going to want to put these down because it's just going to make your pets so much faster. As you can see, these things right now are basically teleporting around. It is crazy. And of course, as we said before, the treasure hunter stuff, like the treasure hunter potion and everything like that, doesn't really affect the keys as it is a completely different kind of drop table. Of course, you do get the usual drops. If we just kind of put our item notifications on right now, we get these typical drops like our enchants and our potions and stuff. They are the standard drops in the game, which are affected by things like treasure hunter potions and books. However, when it comes to the keys, they are not affected by this really whatsoever, so it's not really important to have these books on. As we said before, it's actually better to go through basically and get more breakables. So I would highly recommend using the hasty flag rather than things like the treasure hunter flags or the exotic treasure hunter flags and things like that. It's just going to be way stronger. Now we're going to have a look in through some enchants, which will also help out as well. I am actually currently running this setup. I know I do have the treasure hunter books on, however they don't really affect it too much. However, it does actually depend where you are in the game. So what we're going to do is actually just reset this right now and basically go from a fresh slate. So first of all, I will show you guys the best free to play one, and then we'll also go ahead and show you guys the best pay to win one as well. So what I would highly recommend you guys do is most likely get something like this explosive right here. This will actually help with breaking more breakables over time. It is actually going to be a pretty decent one, although I wouldn't really recommend using it over some of the other things that we will show in this video. This can be very strong. However, one thing that I would recommend putting on is speed. Now, if we just have a quick look right now at my pets, we just take off that speed a minute. They are fairly quick because we do have the speed 3 potion on right now. However, if we actually go ahead and then put on that speed 5 enchant real quick, you can now see how much quicker they are. They are basically instantaneous with how they are moving around this area. It is a massive W. And then of course, there is other speed enchants as well that you can use, such as Happy Pets, another one that I would highly recommend using, because this actually increases the speed by 25% in terms of their movement, but also their attacking speed by 40% as well. So if you aren't instantly breaking every breakable, or of course, most of the time you are going to be 3 hitting most breakables anyways, that's just the way the game's set up, it basically means that it's done way quicker, which is going to be a real positive as well on top of that. Now, depending on where you are in the game, maybe you are fairly weak at the moment with some weaker pets. You might want to use something like strong pets so you can actually hit the breakables a lot more. You might also want to use something like criticals as well, so that you can actually get the critical hits on the breakables. This does actually help quite a lot because most of the time it will reduce the breakable hits down from 3 to 2, so it does mean that breakables will break a lot faster as well. Maybe you might use something like tapping power if you are actually tapping away as well. I would highly recommend maybe using something like Fruity if you can get a lot of the damage apples on there as well as maybe like the pineapple, just for the more drops on top of that as well. It can also be really strong. And then there is some other things that you may possibly want to use. You might want to use like another speed boost, just in case you don't have the fastest pets right now. or maybe something like the tap blast, again similar to the explosive one. You could maybe just use explosive and then it will just basically drop TNT, as you can see. You might have just seen it then, the TNT that just randomly dropped, which is going to be pretty good as well. Now what I'm going to do is show you guys the best pay to win enchant setup, which I would recommend using. So again, something similar, I am definitely going to be using criticals on there. I probably would use maybe a treasure hunter, just because you do kind of have the extra slot, and it may potentially help very, very slightly. I'm honestly not too sure though. However, one thing that I would be using right now is superior chest mimic. Now, don't believe these chests, these keys do actually drop from this. However, just mostly for the fact that we do currently have the mastery on there, it's going to make these chests go up a ton in value. Oh, well, in terms of the enchant, it's going to go up a ton in value, but also just the amount of drops that you can get. It's probably worth right now actually just going through this thing. Now, of course, one thing, if you can afford it and if you are super pay to win, is getting this brand new enchant from this chest. It is very difficult to get, considering this chest only has 4 rolls instead of like 5, 6, 7 or even 8. And I do believe the rarity on this thing is the double question mark, so it is very difficult to get. I believe that makes it less than 1 in 1,000, which is, you know, honestly just kind of crazy. It is very difficult to get. Again, you can get the hoverboard from here, but it doesn't really matter too much. Let's just let it scroll through one more time to the last page. I do believe, as of recording this, yeah, here it is, the Hacker Key enchant, the Hacker Key Hunter enchant even. Basically what this does is it drops 2 or 3 keys instead of just the 1. However, the only problem with this right now is it is 2.41 billion in value, so it is very difficult to get that thing. So, you know, of course, it is always going to make it a lot harder. So yeah, now I'm just going to quickly go through here and collect all my, as you can see, as we lag through this place, all my things right there. Now, one thing that I would recommend as well, if you can get it, is Super Magnet. It basically does mean that you can pick up these keys whilst doing other things as well. So of course, you don't really need to be concentrating too much on getting the hacker keys, as it will basically do its own thing. And as you can see right here as well, one thing that I would recommend is basically going to these areas that are surged. Doesn't really matter the area that you're at, whether it's the best area or the first area in the hacker world. If it is surged, it's going to be a big W, as we do actually get a key right there. Basically, this just doubles the hacker key drops. It's always going to be very important to get that. But yeah, as you can see now, I'm going to basically collecting everything thanks to this Super Magnet. So that makes it really good as well. Another thing that I would recommend, again, speed. It's just going to be so important. It doesn't matter whether you pay to win or not. I'm going to use a couple of speed books. Maybe I'll use one speed book, and then instead I use also the happy pets. Another thing that I would recommend as well with the speed is also the speed potions. These are literally 57 each. You can get tons of these. I've gotten 16,000 of these, and it's only 900,000 wrap. Very cheap, but very strong indeed, and it is going to be going a long way to helping your pets breaking a lot more breakables. Now, in terms of the rest of the enchants, let's just quickly go over these. So you can maybe use another strong pets. However, if your team's already strong enough, you've gotten a ton of huges in your team, strong pets really isn't going to affect it too much, I don't think. So again, you probably could go ahead and use another speed. It won't increase it that much, it is already 100%, so I'd probably maybe stay away from that thing. Again, explosive really probably could help out quite a lot. Large taps as well, and also tap power may also actually help, because the things that your pets might miss. Let's go ahead and turn on just auto tapper real quick. You can basically just get like a macro going around the area, if you can follow a mouse, just going around the area, and it might just kind of like pick up the stuff that your pets might miss, which is always going to be really good as well. And as you can see, we're now breaking a ton of breakables, which basically means that we're going to be going through a ton of keys as well. Now, one other thing that will help, depending on if you are in a public server or a private server, is also sprinklers. Now, I'm currently in this area. I'm not exactly going through breakables too quickly to the point where I need sprinklers. However, if you are in a public area where a lot of breakables are being broken, I would highly recommend getting the sprinklers on. The more breakables you can spawn in means the more breakables that you can break, which is always going to be a massive thing. Now, as you can see, I've just gotten super lucky there, and I had the hacker surge come back to the best area, so that's always going to be really good as well. But yeah, in terms of the overall setups, this is probably what I would recommend using. Maybe you could change out one of like the tapping power stuff, maybe for something like super lightning, maybe corruption as well, depending on where you are in the game. Again, corruption will of course basically make it a lot easier to break these breakables as well. basically reducing the amount of hits it's going to take for them. Maybe you could use something like chest mimic. Maybe the keys do drop from these chests, however I'm not seeing it too much. And another thing that I would recommend as well is changing your ultimate from something that you're currently using. Maybe it's chest spell, maybe it might even be hidden treasure. Just use the cheapest one. Pet Surge can go a seriously long way. It is very quick to charge up as well, pretty easy to level up, and it is going to increase your pet speed and pet breaking speed even more. As you can see, it's already up to 6% charge, which is honestly way quicker than anything else. And basically all you need to do then is maybe get like a macro. As you can see, I'm just going to quickly turn my macro on. As you can see now in the top left hand corner, it's just basically constantly pressing R, which is basically going to make it just constantly spawn all the time. So as soon as that hits 100%, Pet Surge will activate, and then you're going to be going around very quickly, and these breakables are going to be completely destroyed. So yeah, that's basically the kind of essence of this whole thing. In terms of the potions, as I did mention before, use the speed 3 potion, just get as many on as you possibly can. Depends how long you can AFK for. The longer you can AFK, the better, of course, just makes sense. I probably would recommend maybe using a damage potion. I'm not exactly using crazy damage potions, nothing too expensive. However, as you can see, it's just going to help out quite a lot in the long term. You might want to use treasure hunter potions. Again, I don't really think it affects the keys too much, if at all. And again, the cocktail, not really necessary, but it does increase your damage, and I think maybe some of your pet speed as well, although it does only say walk speed, so that might help in the long term as well, depending on where you are in the game. And that really is pretty much it. One thing that you're going to basically want to really do is reduce the amount of like kind of other breakables that spawn in. Now of course I am using the chest mimic, which is good for like just other drops. However, considering the fact that these two might spawn in something that kind of basically hinders your progress, although you might break them very quickly, it still will hinder your progress a little bit in terms of actually getting some of the breakables. So you might want to use Nightmare Orb, and maybe something like the other like Lightning Orb or whatever it's called. Again, Fruity could help out quite a lot as well. And basically what this will do is, instead of spawning in the things like the chest, which might get in the way of breaking breakables, instead now you're just going to be breaking all the standard breakables and getting a much better chance at getting keys. So yeah, in terms of the final overall setup that I'm probably going to be using, I think this might be the one, to be honest. It looks pretty strong to me, and the fact that my pets are breaking a lot of breakables very quickly is a massive plus. Now, one last tip that I am going to give you guys really quickly is, depending on where you are in the game, you might want to actually AFK alone. Now, you can get the friends boost with the keys, which can go, I believe, similar up to like the 1.3 times, very similar to the treasure keys basically. 1.3 times drops from the keys, which is always going to be really good. However, sometimes depending on where you are in the game, if you are with friends and your friends are very strong players, have like a similar team to mine basically, which are going to be going through breakables like no man, basically it's going to mean that you get less breakables. So the more breakables that you can actually break yourself is always going to be a massive positive. So if you are like me and you have a lot of huges in your team and breaking breakables really is no problem for you, I would highly recommend getting a private server and grinding alone. However, if you can't get through breakables as quickly, you are struggling to get through breakables depending on what area you are actually in, you can grind with friends. Now, one thing that I have seen a lot of people currently doing is actually going into public servers. There'll be one person in the best area, one person over here in the third area, one person in the second area, one person in the first area, and then also maybe even someone up in the top area as well, depending on where you are in the game. Now, as you can see, I am also using this Nightmare Orb, so you could possibly get your pets down here in the best area, just kind of breaking their own breakables, and then maybe you can actually get some tap power going on again, get a macro to just kind of go around, break the breakables up here. You're not going to be breaking that much, but you know, the more breakables again, the better. It just kind of depends. But yeah, again, that's basically the essence of this whole thing. Break as many breakables as you can, and you're going to be doing really well. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.